Hey everyone, it's Jay from Hustle Paintball, and today we have a pretty awesome video for the Milsig Paradigm Pro, their new marker with a new system in it. So without further ado, I'm gonna get the box. It's pretty large, so bear with me. You'll see what I mean in a second. We're gonna go over everything that the marker has, all its features, the fact that it's got first strike, normal paintballs, the whole bit. It's gonna be pretty awesome. So hold on one second. So Milsig does have pretty nice packaging. Unfortunately, they didn't design their box with our review in mind. So just like I said, bear with me. It's a little awkward to get into, but as you can see, you do get a lot in there. Yeah. So without further ado, I'm going to take this stuff out so you guys can actually see it, and we'll get to it in here in just a second. This is all the stuff you get in the box. Not a small amount. So let's go over it, all right? First thing, Milsig bag. It's got Milsig's logo on it. Now, the point of this bag, I presume, actually, really, is just for all the stuff that you're not going to want to put on your marker, or perhaps if you just want to rep Milsig in public. That's all right as well. So, got that. Next, of course, we have the squeegee, and where'd it go? The lanyard over here. Also, just more swag. These squeegees, you know, they've been around forever. They come with every paintball gun since the beginning of time. This one's no exception. And the lanyard. Also, we're all fans of lanyards here because we've all lost our keys 10,000 times. These help. Next up, Milsig patch, Velcro on the back, rubberized on the front. I'm a fan of these patches, mostly because since they're not stitched, I actually feel that, well, they get less paint stuck on them. You can just get paint off, which, you know, is a problem for us. Now, the actual important parts of the marker. You do get 12 of these panels. The reason these are important is because Milsig put really nice weaver rails on here. And if you grip really hard when you're, say, playing paintball, or even if you fall or anything, they may be able to cut you if you don't have gloves on. So these are really pretty nice rubberized panels. Next up, the Ergo Grip, which is this right here. We refer to it affectionately as the gangster grip. It does come with a set of front and back flip-up sights. As you can see, they both flip up. They're a little hard to do when they're not mounted on the gun, but they do. And 2 mag pulls, one for each of the magazines, which are here. They look like this. They slide right on. They're pretty sturdy, pretty hard to get off once they're in place, which is the point. Now, of course, the whole point of the marker are the mags themselves. You have straight mag, 10 rounds of first strike, and curved mag. This was for 20 rounds of normal paintballs, although in practice 20 rounds doesn't really fit in here. You know, call it 18. It'll be a little bit easier on the spring. They'll feed nicer. And since these are Milsig's new mags, use the new square head mags, which are pretty awesome. They use a system much similar to Tiberius. They use a locking bar here rather than the old collar and BBs, which had some problems. We're going to demonstrate why these are so much more awesome here in just a couple minutes, because trust me, they really are. They're one of my favorite new features. If for any reason you of course would want to put a hopper on one of these markers, you're more than welcome to. It would be considered heresy by many, but it does come with a hopper adapter and some actually pretty nice thumb screws. So when you want to get it off in a hurry, like say one of your buddies is coming, he might see it. You know, they're easy to remove. Of course, another sling mount. This one matches this, so you can mount it on any of the weaver rails, depending upon how you want to set up your sling system. The Allen keys that come with it. This is a huge improvement over Milsig markers of old. The old ones used several different Allen key sizes, some metric, some standard. It was just completely obnoxious. So this, much improved, it only uses 2 Allen keys, a 2.5 and a 3mm, and that's it on the whole marker. Now, even better than that are these 2 push pins, which we'll install in a second as well. Push pins with cotter pins on the other side. These allow you to field strip the marker, you know, in a vein similar to like say an A5 or anything like that in seconds, a 1/10 of the time of the old Milsigs. So these are pretty fantastic. The stock itself, right here, tank goes in there, locks in place, it's adjustable. These are pretty, actually remarkably comfortable stocks. This also comes with a sling mounting point if you wanted to run say a 1-point sling here, or if you just didn't want your sling mounted as far forward on the marker, this would be another option as well. And last but not least, the most important part, the actual marker body itself. Now, Magwell is awesome. It's much improved over the last ones. It feels very good when you slide mags in place. This one is in the appropriately fetching flat dark earth. This is a legit flat dark earth pattern. It's hard to demonstrate on the camera, but trust me, when you put this next to any other color of camo or fatigues, it will blend in with most of them. This is pretty legit. Fluted bull style barrel. The end of it is threaded right here, so you can put different muzzle brakes or what have you. And of course, last but not least, on the marker itself, tank goes in the back. The adapter bar will swing in place, put the stock on it, and you have the whole marker. You got everything out of the box. Now it's time to start putting this stuff together. There's a lot to go through, so let's get started. First things first, when it comes to really any paintball marker, you need a manual. Companies that don't include manuals just rustle my jimmies. It just bothers me so much. Milsig, however, even though their manual is very, it's very much like technical and has diagrams, as long as you can read the diagrams, it will show you everything. It's really actually pretty in depth. So I will absolutely give them credit. They put a legit paper manual in the box. I can't go over how important this is, because when you're out at the field, you don't have the internet to look at your manual on your phone or your buddy's phone, or if you didn't print it out or whatever. Paper manuals are just better. Companies that don't include them upset me. But I don't need it for the purpose of this video, so we'll put it to the side for now. First things first, when you get your tank, in our case, we're using a Gorilla Air 13. Both Gorilla and Ninja tanks will fit. We put both of them on. They both work, so don't worry about that. The Ninja tanks are a little bit larger diameter, but like I said, we put one on there, it works fine. I personally am a fan of Ninja regulators myself and Gorilla bottles, but for the purposes of this, bam, we're just gonna use this tank. Now, the reason it's relevant is because there is this locking bar, right? This is the part of the marker that the stock slides onto, and this is what gives it a lot of strength. Now, because the MKIII reg on the Gorilla tanks is so short, it's going to interfere. So what you're going to have to do is you have to rotate the bar out of the way, and then screw the tank in. You'll hear the marker gas up here in a second. Don't gas your marker up if you have less than 1,000 psi or so in the tank, or it won't be able to return to battery properly. We'll go over that here in a second. But screwed in. There, heard it click. It's good to go. Make sure it's screwed in enough where you can both read the gauge and the pin valve is open far enough. We did that when we were testing it, and it shot about one time. Return the locking bar to its original position, and then slide the stock on. You'll go right over it. You'll get to a point where you'll feel the stock pin not go any farther. You can either press down hard, or you can lift up on that knurled part on the stock, and it'll slide into place. Stock has 5 points of adjustment depending on how you like the marker to sit in front of you. Okay, cool. We got the stock on, marker's aired up. Of course, there's no paint in it. Keep the marker on safe at the very least, since it is gassed up. Next up, I personally think the next thing to put on would be the sights. So the easiest way to do that, you have a set of them here, front and rear. They do flip up, as we said earlier, and they are adjustable. For what it's worth, of course, it's paintball, so the fact that you can adjust the windage and elevation on the sights is maybe superfluous, but you paid a lot for this marker, so you should get a lot, even if you're not going to use it. They slide on pretty painlessly. What you want to do is get your 3mm Allen key, unscrew the screw that holds it in place. Don't let the nut on the backside fall out. That happened as well. We had to go and hunt for that, but we found it, fortunately. They'll slide right over the weaver rails. You can put them as far forward as backwards as you like. I personally am a fan of having them, having the back of the sight line up with the very back of the marker. I think that's the ideal place, but your mileage may vary. Pop the screw in. Go ahead and tighten it down. They thread in pretty nicely. Milsig decided to include some nice hardware, which is good. A lot of companies skimp on their hardware, and it tells because the screws start to strip out. Same thing goes for the front. Make sure you unscrew it, then slide it on. Same thing, 3mm Allen key on the front. They only turn a couple times, 3 or 4 times, so you don't need to spend a lot of time cranking them down. This is particularly relevant since these things are polymer, and you can crunch them if you tighten that stuff on too hard. So put it on as far forward as you would like. Put the screw in. Again, put your finger on the bottom where the nut is, or it's very likely going to get pushed out and you'll lose it. All right, now you got your sights installed. Next up is the Ergo foregrip, or as we call it, the gangster grip. Now, it's not a full-length vertical foregrip, it's sort of half and half. We'll show you there's a couple different ways you can use this here when we go outside to actually shoot it. Now, much like how we had to do with the sights, you want to keep your finger over the nut here when you unscrew it, or it will very likely fall out and you'll lose it and be very sad. So go ahead and unscrew it, again with your 3mm Allen. There's only a handful of places on the marker that don't use this, so these are going to be your friends. It comes apart with, it's almost like a little sled or attachment piece. Makes it a lot more sturdy when you install it. Now, according to Milsig, as well as people who know things, the correct way to install this is as far back towards the Magwell as you can. I disagree from an ergonomics perspective, but who am I to say? So, goes on pretty painlessly. Put the sled on first. That'll help line up the screw. Keep your thumb over the nut in the back. Use your 3mm, tighten it down. Again, just like the sides, don't crank down too hard on it, or what will happen is you'll end up crushing the polymer it's made out of, and that'll be kind of lame. Once it's installed, nice and sturdy, you'll feel it stop. You'll feel it stop turning, getting pretty stiff. That is all good. So that's installed. After you have your foregrip, of course, you're going to be gripping it on the front of the marker. So for that, Milsig has included 12 of these rubberized rail covers. Now, when you get them in the box, they're probably going to be stuck together like this, but we did it just for the sake of the video so you can see them. They come off very painlessly, and you can clip them right into the channels. They have these two bars on the back that will fit into two of the grooves. The easiest way to figure out, I think, where you actually want to put them is take the marker and actually grip it however you would want to. And then put the panels, of course, where your fingers are going to be. Also, relevant places, of course, would be the sling mount near the sling hardware, or if you have flashlights, lasers, anything like that. Make sure you put it on both sides, because after all, we all know you have to be able to shoot both left and right-handed. They hook on one side of the weaver rails and then just sort of roll in place. It'll make sense once you get them and see them. There's no secret. You don't have to slide them down from the beginning. Just put them in place, and they pretty much are just plug and play. You put on as many or as few as you want. Some guys don't like the look of rail panels. I personally, I'm not a fan of rubber ones. I prefer ones like the Magpul XTM panels, just because they're plastic, not plastic, polymer. They're just more durable. Another place to make sure you try to put one, of course, is right in front, because your finger might slip off if you drop your marker. So, now that you have your rail covers installed, the next thing you're going to want, maybe, I'm not really into mounting my slings farther forward. Some people are, but in case you are, Milsig does include this weaver-compatible sling attachment point. The base is polymer, the D-ring itself is aluminum, and it uses the now familiar 3mm Allen key. Just like the other ones, of course, keep your thumb in place so you don't lose the nut on the other side. It slides on just like the Ergo Grip and the sights do, so that's that, and that's what that's about. I'm not going to install it because it's not my thing. Next, kind of a touchy subject, is a hopper adapter. I know why they included it. Some people may want to use it, but you spent a non-insignificant sum on a MKIII marker, and I feel like this just kind of ruins the experience if you were to put one on here. However, not to hate irrationally. We'll show you how to install it here during the maintenance portion of the video, which will be after we go and shoot it. At the same time, we're going to show you how to install these push pins. The first time you maintain it is a perfect time to install these. They are awesome. The older Milsigs had a lot of different screws and they were just a pain. These are so much better. I cannot even put it into words. But like I said, after we get done shooting, we'll get to these. Now, another sort of touchy subject is Milsig, for some reason, decided to use their own threading on the end of the barrel, and that's just lame. We tried to put Lapco stuff on. No. We tried to put, Tiberius hammerhead, which all use the same threads. None of those work. But the Flask and Rat 4 style threading doesn't work. You have to use Milsig muzzle brakes and accessories. Just kind of lame. Sorry, but that's the truth. Now, the key, of course, are your mags themselves. They do include these two matching, also flat dark earth, mag pulls. They go right on the bottom. Just push them right in place. You'll feel them just slide in place. You don't want to keep taking them on and off because it will eventually start to, wear them out or whatever. But once you get a new mag, pop it on, should be all good. They go on the first strike and the normal paintball magazine pretty painlessly. Once they're in place, you want to make sure that they're flush with the bottom so that they have the most amount to grip, while still giving you the most amount to actually grab the bottom of the mag. And now, once we got these all put together, let's go outside and put some paint through it. All right, everyone, so here we are outside. Now, first things first, I want to give a shout out to Spanky of World Combat Paintball, because this is actually his paradigm that we've been using in the video. As soon as we're done with the video, we're going to go and box up and send it to him. But he's very gracious to allow us to give us permission to use this. So thanks, man, and thanks all the guys at WCP. You guys are awesome. Now, there's a couple things I wanted to go over. First and foremost, while we were out here, is how improved the new magazines are. These square head mags are so much better. Now, bear with me, because these are the Rap 4 ones. We don't have any of the old Milsig ones. But allow me to illustrate. So this is the Rap 4 one. It's the old mag we all had. It has the ball bearings, all that stuff in it. These are the new square head mags, all right? Now, just to put in perspective, right, these are pretty tough. No paint's gonna come out of them, all right? You're just bumping around or like hitting them against anything, right? These will actually, yeah, look. See? These things are just, they're just garbage. If you get hit, if you bump this collar, you can't bump a collar here. But if you were to, like say you got shot or you tried to bang it into the Magwell or anything, yeah. These are, fortunately, we're done with these, so goodbye. These are much better, thanks to the Paradigm Pro. Now, I do know that these are only going to be needed just for the Paradigm Pro, but you can buy these adapters, the square head adapters, for about $5. So, just something to be aware of. The last thing while we're out here is we're going to show you how to do the regulator, all right? So, what you want to do is get your 3mm Allen key again. On the top, there is a little gauge. It's going to have 0, 3, 5, 8, a bunch of PSI readings on it. One of them is going to be green. That's about 300 feet per second. Now, of course, that's no substitute for a chronograph. But slowly, put your Allen key in there. Again, don't twist that knurled knob, because that'll void your warranty if you do that. Put your Allen key in the top of the regulator and slowly crank it up. The reg's pretty touchy, so do it slowly and you'll see the pressure start to creep up. Once you get to the right pressure, make sure you go and chrono it up, but it should be pretty good. Other than that, let's go shoot some things. Unfortunately, there are a couple more things we need to go over, which is why I've come inside. It's got a little windy outside, so you guys wouldn't have been able to hear me. But there are some important things that I want to go over. The first and most important, of course, is what the marker actually feels like in your hands. It's very comfortable. It feels like an AR. It really, really does. It has all the controls. Everything is in the same place, other than the safety, which we touched on already. Other than that, I mean, the trigger brake itself is fantastic. You can load up the trigger. It brakes really cleanly. I mean, it's just like that. It's really, really responsive and feels very good, particularly for a mechanical marker. This marker's all mechanical. It feels very nice because of that. When you actually shoot it, the marker you can feel, the bolt, which is not small, as you guys saw. It's not small. It's a large mass reciprocating back and forth, but it goes right back right into your shoulder. So it just feels good. You just have to trust me. It feels like a pretty good marker. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you guys is what it sounds like when it runs out of air. When it does this, you have to take the tank off and go fill it. You can't fill it back on the marker. The reason being is that air will just go into the tank and then run down the barrel, and the marker will never return back to battery. So this is what it sounds like when you actually get there. I've got about 1,000 psi in there, and that's about the cusp of where you're not supposed to fill it back up. So here, I'll see if I can show you guys what it sounds like. Oh, we're getting close. Almost. Feel the trigger start to get heavier. There you go. That's what that means. The marker's out of air. Yeah, I mean it shot pretty deep into the tank. It's it's reading straight up 0, but that's what it sounds like. Just so you guys know. After a day of play, it's important to maintain your marker. These are expensive, and it behooves you to treat them well. Fortunately, maintenance isn't very hard, so we're going to go over that right now. Of course, first things first. After you're pretty sure you're out of paint, take the mag out. Set it to the side. Check inside the breech to make sure that there's physically no paint in it. Slide your stock off. Put that to the side. Move the locking bar out of the way and unscrew your tank. You'll hear the marker degas in 2 stages. Once you get your tank off, go ahead and set that out of the way. Now for the most important parts. There are 2 screws on this side and 2 matching screws on the other side. What runs between them is a threaded bar, and that's what holds the entire back part of the marker together. Now to get them off, you need 2 3mm Allen keys, 1 for each side. Go ahead and put one in here, one on the other side, and you oppose them and they'll unscrew. Once you have the screw off either side, just be aware that the back part of the marker here is all under spring tension. So you're going to want to keep your hands on it while you're doing it. Go ahead and take one of your Allen keys, push it through, and remove those 2 bars. Take those and set them to the side. You don't want to lose the screws that they come with, because you may, for some reason, want to put them back in there. Once you have those both removed, you'll feel the back part spring into your hand. Like that. It's under quite a lot of spring tension. And put that to the side. And you can pull out the heat core system. Take your marker body and put that out of your way. This is the part of the marker you actually have to maintain on a fairly regular basis. What you want to maintain it is any good grease. In our case, we recommend Pathogen Super Grease, but Dow 33, any good quality marker grease will work just fine. Take your spring off, set it down. Same thing for the bolt and the air chamber here. Now, when you lube them up, less is more. Clean all the old stuff off because it's gross and in the way. Take your lubricant of choice. Get a little bit on your fingers, rub it around. You want to put it evenly all the way around the surface of the air chamber and on the exterior of the bolt where the spring rides. The one O-ring, the most important seal in the marker, is here in the front of the air chamber. It's orange. It's made out of a fairly exotic sounding material called Viton fluoroelastomer. Milsig got this so that it's the most important seal. It's one that makes your gun essentially go. So they spent a lot of money and research, and these are pretty legit O-rings. So that's the important one to inspect for visual damage. Very likely, it'll be fine. Now, put it back together, of course. Slide it back on the top. Make sure this pin here is lined up with your gauge on the top, because this is the hammer locking bar. Slide the spring over that. Now this is the hard part, and as we mentioned earlier, this is where you're going to get your push pins out. Now, your push pins are two different lengths. One's longer than the other one. Tip owners will be familiar with this. Go ahead and take the cotter pins off. Make sure they're handy. Now, there may be some other ways to do it, but I personally found the easiest way is just to take the quad rail and put it right there. This way, you can drop everything straight into the marker without having to balance it on anything else. You feel everything slide together. There you go. Now, you want to take the shorter one, put it through the top, and the longer one through the bottom. Once they're through, you can go ahead and take your cotter pins and slide them in place. Now, the manual does suggest while you're doing this that you may want to cut your cotter pins to prevent them from rubbing against your body, and they're absolutely right, because that will happen. If you do want to cut them, you cut them just below where they lock in place. We'll show you here in a second where that is, because of course scratching into your body would be lame. There. And that pretty much is it. Other than that, screw the tank back in, and that's all the maintenance you have to do. These things are so easy to maintain. They're fantastic. They're so much better than the old ones. Now, if you're forced to actually use your hopper adapter through circumstances entirely out of your control, then please follow along here and we'll go through the process. Of course, you want to get the hopper adapter itself with the hardware. Go ahead, empty it out on the table. What you should get are two thumb screws, and the adapter piece itself. Now, before we're ready to actually install these, we have to take some things off of the Paradigm Pro. For this, you're going to need both your 2.5 and your 3mm Allens. You want to start with the two screws that are holding this top weaver rail in place. They'll be on the right side of the marker, same side as the regulator and the hopper adapter itself is going to go. Go ahead and unscrew them with your 3mm Allen. They should come out pretty painlessly. Get the other one out. All right. So we got that out. Remove the bar that comes with them. And that's the first step. Now take your other Allen key, turn the marker over, and there are these two smaller screws in the front. Go ahead and unscrew those. And you're just about ready. Now, as we discovered here, maybe due to an oversight or an accident, there is one downside to the hopper adapter, which I'll show you here in just a moment. Particularly if you're attached to your sights. Okay, once you get those two unscrewed, slide it backwards, slide this top rail towards the rear of the marker. It'll come out, set that to the side. Now you can get the hopper adapter itself. This piece clips over these weaver rails and you screw it in here, much in the same way as you would take the old one off. While we're on that subject, turn your marker back over one more time, get your 2.5mm Allen key, and take the hopper plug out. Should be two screws in there. Each one has a washer on it. Don't lose the washers. Go ahead and take it out. Set them to the side. And should be all good. That'll just lift free. Inside, if you look down in there, you'll be able to see the detent. Now, if you do need to get to the detent, for any reason, it wears out or whatever, it's very easy. You just take the Milsig plate off. It's right underneath that. Now, take your hopper adapter, clip it over the top weaver rail. It'll pop in place, and you can just go ahead and tighten it down. Make sure the holes are lined up correctly. Get the other one. All right, and that's pretty much it. Now, you might be asking, what about that top rail? Well, due to perhaps an oversight, an accident, or honestly, maybe we just don't know how. We tried a long time to figure out how to get this on. There is no way that we've been able to see to put this rail back on with the adapter. You can't fit this tongue back in here and screw it back together. Don't know why. Maybe it's an oversight. Even the manual has us doing it a different way. So another slight bummer on Milsig's part. But the real key is that this is maybe a blessing in disguise. You don't really want your hopper adapter on there for any reason on your $1,000 MagFed gun. So just keep that in mind. It may be a blessing in disguise. Hopefully you won't ever run into a situation where you're forced to put this thing on here. So with that being said, let's move on. So there it is. The Milsig Paradigm Pro. I mean, this is the newest from Milsig. This is the way that all their markers are going to be in the future. Now, of course, there are a couple, hiccups, a little rough around the edges in some places. The first, of course, is the regulator here. As we went over outside when we were adjusting the velocity, it's a little deceptive. It has this knurling around it, so of course I have to twist that, but that's not how you're supposed to do it. Next, of course, is safety. Well, it's got a very nice tactile feel. It's still not a proper rotating safety, which, for considering how much Milsig went, above the average paintball marker to make the ergonomics feel like a real AR platform, the fact that it doesn't have a rotating safety is a little, come on. Which brings you my next little bit of, come on guys, the hopper adapter. I don't know if they wrote the manual with a different marker, or is just an oversight or what, but it just doesn't work like it should. I mean, it's clearly cut out here, it should work, and it doesn't, and that's kind of lame. But other than that, I mean, that's the level of kind of nitpicking we have to go into. Other than that, this is a fantastic marker. Over prior Milsigs, the Magwell it goes together much nicer. It's much more chunky, I guess. It's well made. You get a fantastic amount of accessories that come standard with the marker, the rail panels, the foregrip, the sights, all that stuff. And of course, this was admittedly, Milsig did design this as a sniper platform. We all went through that phase as paintballers. But this really is the closest thing I think paintball has to a legit sniper marker. It's surprisingly quiet without any porting on the barrel or anything. It's a very quiet operating marker. Of course, the first strikes and everything, as you saw outside, can have some very amusing and profound effects on your paintball game and how people play paintball. So, with all that in mind, my personal review of it, my personal opinion, I think this is fantastic, and there's no other paintball marker you can buy right now that's like it. It's truly a unique marker, not just because it can shoot first strikes, because you have Tiberius markers. There's a bunch of different options for first strike compatible markers or ones that you can mod to do it. But this is just so well made. It's so rugged. It's so purpose built. I don't know of any other company that has anything in the works that is going to be as just durable, tough as this thing. That's its party piece, if you will, is that you can put it down and you can put 300 pounds on it. I mean, you can use it as a step to get over a fence. I mean, there's just no other paintball gun right now, no other marker that'll do that. It's fantastic, if for that reason alone, in addition to all the other advantages that it has. As always, you can get this Milsig Paradigm Pro, more mags if you need them, Tiberius Arms first strike rounds, this awesome beanie, or anything else paintball related at hustlepaintball.com. And in fact, while you're there, you can go ahead and type in the SKU we have right up here, and it'll show you exactly where this is on our website, how much it is, where you can buy it. These are awesome markers, and they are totally worth your money. Now, since you're watching us on YouTube, please subscribe to us, and if for no other reason than you like this video. Obviously, you made it this far. But we have a lot more videos coming out, and we have a lot that we've done in the past. So if you have an idea for a video that you think we should do, or that you'd like to see done, or maybe you're just curious about, email us at videos@hustlepaintball.com. Now, of course, that's not the only way to reach everyone here at Hustle. A good way would be Facebook. We have a great deal of just amusing things that we find on the internet, paintball related. Things that are going around the office, news from various sources, all kinds of stuff is good on our Facebook. Other than that, of course, Trevor, our operations manager, he writes our blog, blog.hustlepaintball.com, and it's it's only getting better. There's some of the most recent entries have been some of the coolest stuff that's ever been written about us. It's just really really in depth, really inside what hustle is and what it does. Of course, last but not least is Twitter. 140 characters isn't a lot to you really get to know anyone, but it is one of the fastest ways to get a hold of us. And I myself am always on there. So if you want to get a hold of me, Twitter's a really good way to do that. So until next time, guys, good luck, have fun at paintball, and back to Gangnam Style. Yeah, the flat dark earth one. Next take. Get out of here.